Okay, it's day 7, AMI day 8 for physical science for Lamar High School students. The things that you're going to need today will be a writing utensil, preferably a pencil, because there's math involved in most of the work all of this week. So make sure you have a pencil. A pen just looks really sloppy. You can't really erase a pen. I know there's some of you that might have a pen that you can erase, but I would rather you work in pencil. You need your 4.2 calculating slope from a graph worksheet that is found in your AMI packets. Hopefully you have had time to go online and be able to print those off. Just a real quick reminder of where to get those is you go to lamarwarriors.org website. You go down to the left-hand column. Sometimes, or most certainly, refresh this page. It will automatically pop up for you a little, this one didn't do it this time. Let me click out of this real quick and see. It should pop up a little notice to you to remind you, hey, today's AMI day. This is what you have to get done. It didn't pop it up. That's okay. So we're going to scroll down to where it says important links, AMI packets. I'm going to click on that link. Then going to go to high school AMI packets. From high school AMI packets, oh, there's the link. AMI information March 30th through April 3rd, day 6 through 7. So, okay, so that reminds me that I need to go to days 6 through 7. We've got AMI days 2 through 10. If you look, we already are getting up AMI days 11 through 15, which will start next week, and then the week after that will be AMI days 16 through 20. So I'm going to click on the 2 through 10. I'm going to go down to science AMI because physical science. Okay. Going to scroll down to physical science day 7 through 10. I already have all of mine put in order for you. So you just click on the PDF. Scroll down. Today is day 8. Oh my word. What did I put on there? Did I put day 7? Today is day 7. I don't know why I have. Oh, it's AMI day 8. Woo! Yes. Yes. Okay. So we are on AMI day 8, and that's why it says day 8, 4.2 calculating slope from a graph. Let me remind parents, if you're watching this, students, if you're watching this, hopefully you are, none of the learning that the students have in these AMI packets are new learning. Nothing is new. It is all repeat information that they've heard before or they have completed before. It does not hurt to refresh their memory when it comes to a lot of the mathematical equations in science. They need to know how to find vectors. They need to know how to find slope. They need to know to look at a graph and say, what's the independent axis? What's the independent variable? What's the dependent variable? What is happening here with my slope? Am I having a regression or am I having a positive, or I shouldn't have said regression, I apologize, a positive or a negative correlation? They need to know those kind of things. So that's what we're looking at this week, is still working on graphs. Like I said, and I'll say it a lot of times, I still need work on graphs, and I look at graphs all the time when it comes to scientific research. So if they still don't understand it, and I have covered this in Mrs. Galloway's Algebra 1 class, because the same time that I taught it is the same time they learned over there. Let me go ahead and turn this off real quick. I love having music playing in the background. You can ask any of the students. I just feel like it keeps the flow of the classroom going. Okay, so if they still don't understand it, even after me going over how to do the work, they can go to this link, which will take them to the book. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, let me highlight it. No, let me highlight it. Type in http://bit.ly/n, 9th, big P, big S, capital P, capital S, capital B, lowercase o-o-k. They're going to go to Chapter 4, Section 2, and start reading on pages 87 through 90. Yes, math is in science. Math is in science. I don't know how many times I have to say that, even to my own students. Math is in science. Without math, how do we know that our data is supported or not supported? Okay, so then I'm going to, we just did that yesterday. You should have finished that yesterday. I did number 1 with you, which means you only have to do 2, 3, and 4 on your own. 5 is a bonus if you want to do it. It's not required. So today is 4.2 calculating slope from a graph. Hopefully you have had time now to get this out, to pull it up on another phone, or maybe on your computer. Maybe you print it off. If you're having issues and you want paper format, remember, you need to email Mr. Harris, mharris@lamarwarriors.org. Let him know your student's name, grade, and what day of package they're needing. So if you're needing this week, you need to say day 7 through 10. If you're needing next week, we only have 4 days next week because of Good Friday. So you would say you would need packets 11, 12, 13, 14, 11 through 14. I think it's actually categorized as 11 through 15 that'll go ahead and give you for Mondays, if I'm thinking correctly in my head. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, it would be 12. Oof, okay, you know. All right. So first thing I want the student to do is to read through the information, reminding you how to calculate slope. So this is kind of when you calculate slope by doing it through mental math. I'm not a big fan. I know that, whoa, we do mental math all the time in lower school or lower grades. That's great. I want the student to learn how to use slope-intercept form. That is what they were looking at in algebra. So if they want to read through this and figure out how to find slope just by looking at point A and point B and figuring out the X and the Y's and doing the lowest, not lowest order, but is it lowest fraction? That's great. Only thing is I want for you to show me how to do it through the equation of slope-intercept form. So real quick, let's go through that. So if you do not have the availability to print, not a big deal. Get a piece of paper. Maybe the next time you go to Dollar General, you go to the family store, you go to Walmart, grab a package of loose leaf note paper. I think it's like $1.05, maybe 80 cents. They can write at the very top hand corner, write their name, write PS AMI day 8. Say they did yesterday's or haven't done yesterday's because they didn't have the worksheet to print off. Put at the top right hand corner your name, PS AMI day 7, tomorrow will be AMI day 8, 9, 10, and so on and so forth. You also need a calculator. If you don't have a calculator, your phones all have a good enough calculator to do the work for today. Assignment, read how to calculate slope from a graph, complete the 2 examples, use the equation slope equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1, all together divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. It's just looking at the y's and the x. Complete numbers 1 through 10. This is probably the most I will ever assign. I will never assign anything over 10, and I'm going to do one of them with you. Okay, I don't know why that is there. It's a little out of turn. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate how to do slope with you. I forgot to turn on my overhead projector, so I've got to wait a hot minute for that to come on. Okay, so let's look. Everything's okay. I don't know why it brought up a little line here. I don't know where that line came from. Okay, hopefully you can see this. All right. So we're going to calculate slope from a graph. Now this is the first example. Yes, the first example is already done for you, but I want you to go through and just remind yourself how to calculate slope. Anytime you calculate slope, you first have to find 2 points. Any 2 points on the line and the graph. And this one already gives you a point at our origin and then another random point. But we want to make sure that that point is at an intersection of our x and our y. If you need to remind yourself where's the y, where's the x, it doesn't hurt to write y on your vertical line and x on your horizontal. Just remind yourself what's the x, what's the y. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to name my points. When I name them, I'm going to put them in the format of x, comma, y. So on my first one, to find my x, we're at the origin, so I automatically know my origin is going to be 0, 0. This is what is called my x1. This is what is called my y1 because it's my first point. My first point on my x for my first point itself is 0. My first point on the y, which is my vertical, is 0. Then my second point, because it is intersecting my x and my y, I'm going to look over and down and figure what those numbers are. Because I'm going to put it in the format x comma y, and set up my first parentheses. My x, if I follow the line down, is a 3. And my y, if I follow the line to the y, it is a 9. And in my parentheses. So this is my second point. Because it's my second point, I can label it x2, y2. Now I'm going to find slope using the slope intercept format that says that m, which that is slope, equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Make sure that looks like a y to you. I'm just going to I'm going to input my points. So for input points. So it says m equals my y sub 2 is my 9 because I says up here y sub 2. I'm going to input my 9. I'm going to bring down the minus sign and now find y sub 1. My y sub 1 number is 0. 9 minus 0. That is all over my x sub 2. I said right here, this is my x sub 2, which my number is 3, minus my x sub 1, which is 0. Now I'm just going to do simple math. So 9 minus 0 is 9. 3 minus 0 is 3. What does that equal? Well, I can take it away. I know it's an improper fraction. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. Because 3 can go into 9 how many times? 3, 6, 9. 3 times. So 3. So that's my slope. It doesn't have a unit. It's just a slope of 3. Let's look at the next example. Okay, so for our next example, it already has our points for us again. Our first point, the way that you always figure out what's my first point and what's my second point is you want to look at, let me get this out of the way. You want to look at the point closest to the y-axis. Go ahead, I'm going to label this my y, and label this my x. So the point closest to the y-axis. And we actually have a point right on our y-axis. We'll go ahead and name that point. Remember we said first we're going to look for the x. So if I follow this point down on my x, it starts at 0. Put a comma. And if I go over for my y, it's at 24. So this is my x sub 1. This is my y sub 1. I'm going to find my second point, and it is at the intersection of my x and y. So I'm going to first find my x2. So I go down. It says my x2 is 6. And then I'm going to look for my y2. I'm going to move over. My y2 is 15. So it's 6, 15, close. So now, oh, I did not backwards. So now this is my x sub 2. This is my y sub 2. Reason, this was my first point. This was my second point. That is why those sub numbers are there to remind me which point was my first one, which one's my second one. So now that I've found my point, I'm then going to insert those points using the equation y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So my y sub 2, look back over, it said my y sub 2, let's do a different color, let's do our green. Y sub 2 is 15. I'm going to bring down my subtraction sign. I'm going to y sub 1 is going to be subtracted. 24. Put those in parentheses because those have to be done first. And then look at my x sub 2, and it says my x sub 2 is 6. And then subtract by my x sub 1, which is 0. So now, you might need a little calculator here. 15 minus 24. Because I have a bigger number second, I know that it's going to be a negative. So 15 minus 24 is negative 9, all over 6 minus 0, which is going to be 6. Now this is another improper fraction. I need to look at the 2 and see which number can go into both. Can 2? 2 can go into 6, but 2 can't go into 9. Can 3? 3 can. 3 can go into 2 twice, and 3 can go into 9 3 times. So it's going to be 3 over 2. But I've got to remember, this negative sign has to come over. So my slope is negative 3 over 2. Does that make sense for it to be a negative? Yeah. Anytime that your slope is going into a negative correlation, you have to put that negative in front of it. It'll always show a negative correlation. Unlike that last one was a positive. Let's look back at it. Ooh, look at all that beautiful stuff. There we go. Okay. This one was a positive because it was going in a positive correlation. Okay, let's do number 1 together. Okay, on number 1, it just gives us the graph and it gives us the line. But it does not give us points. So I can pick any 2 points. So let me remind you, pick any 2 points. Doesn't matter where, as long as the point intercepts the x and the y. So the first point that I want to pick, this one looks good because it intercepts the x and the y. And then my second point, this looks good too, because it intercepts the x and the y also. Remember I said in order to know which one's my first point and the second point, it is the one closest to the y-axis. So I can name my first point. Remember, this is going to be my first point. This is my second point. So my first point is I first look at my x. So the point is at 4, comma, look at my y, 24. So this is my x1. This is my y1. If you still need that extra help reminding you, this is my y, this is my x, I'm not going to count off if you add those on there. That's the bell to come back from lunch. It's now 5th hour, I'm pretty sure. Haven't looked at the clock, though. Could be lunch. Then my next point, now I've named my point 1. My next point, do the same thing. I'm going to look at my, where does the line intercept the x? 12. Where does it intercept my y? 18. So this is x2. This is y1. Then I'm just going to put it in for my slope equation. y2, y sub 2 minus y sub 1, parentheses. Parentheses open, x sub 2 minus x sub 1, parentheses closed. Alright, so I'm just going to input. So n equals my y sub 2. This, oh, look what I did. There we go, that's a 2. This is my y sub 2. We'll say 18 minus my y sub 1, 24, parentheses, all over my x sub 2. So that's my x sub 2. 12 minus my x sub 1, which is 4. So now it goes back to simple math. 18 minus 24, because my second number is larger, I know that it's going to be a negative. I also know that the slope is going to be a negative because it is going in a negative correlation. So 18 minus 4 is going to give me a negative 6 all over 12 minus 4, which is going to be 8. Now I can say what number goes into both because this is not in its simplified form. So I want to simplify it. 1, of course, can always go into every number, but let's look at 2. 2 can go into 6 and 2 can go into 8. What about 3? Well, 3 can go into 6, but 3 does not go into 8. Look at 4. 4 4 can go into 8, but 4 can't go into 6. So I'm going to stick with 2. So I'm going to say that 2 can go into 6 3 times. And 2 can go into 4 times. Oh, but look what I forgot. I've always got to bring over that negative. So my slope is negative 3/4. Down here where it says m equals, I'm going to put my negative 3/4. If you can fit in there with it not looking like a sideways fraction, that's fine. But make sure that it says negative 3/4. So that's how you find slope. I know you've seen it 7th grade, 8th grade, and now 9th grade year, because you would be surprised at how many students do not understand how to find slope, and that's okay. That's what we're here for, is to help you understand slope. So now, your job is to go through, let's get back to that. There we go. Your job is to go through and complete number 2 through 10. When you write on the paper, or if you don't have a paper, you have just a piece of paper, on a piece of paper, make sure that you are drawing. I need to see this. I need to see what 2 points you chose. I need to see that you've written out either shown your work on this side of the graph or on this side of the graph, and then you put your final answer where m equals and the underline. Fairly simple work today. It is just a review. I hope it's not too frustrating. If it is, give me a call, email me. I'm available. Hopefully you're watching these. And like I'm going to say every day, I miss you, I love you, and I hope to see you soon. Stay safe. Wash your hands up to the elbows. Might want to wash your face a little bit. Doesn't hurt. Get in the shower. Clean yourself up. Do some laundry. Oh, help your mom clean. Help your dad clean, grandma and grandpa. Help them out. Remember, you're at home. You're now taking up space. Make sure the stench from your room is not going out underneath your door. Clean your stuff up. Take your plates back to the kitchen. Take your laundry to the laundry room. Be helpful, not a hindrance. Love you.